One of the things that's going to be my mission this year, my passion, is to really help people to give to charities in greater amounts. And so my buzzword is never write another check to charity. And what I really want to mean there is that folks that give money to charity every year, we want to do it a little bit smarter, a little bit more efficiently. So the best way to do that is through donor advised funds or through gifting appreciated assets like stocks or bonds or mutual funds or properties. That's really something that I'm passionate about because we can really increase the amount that the charity receives, increase the tax deduction for the client. Everybody wins except for the government, which is something I'm really passionate about. If we just give a check to a charity, that's great. But what's happening is you're not getting any immediate tax deduction on the appreciated assets that you have. So if you have an investment account or any assets that have grown, that have embedded tax gains, what we really want to do is gift those assets either directly to the church or to the school or to the university or to charity, or go ahead and set up a donor advised fund, gift those assets to the donor advised fund, and then you can have that donor advised fund write checks to that charity. One of the neat things about a donor advised fund is it can remain in existence for as long as you'd like. So family can contribute monies. We set up one actually in my grandmother's name who suffered from rheumatoid arthritis and she was 27, so she was a strong bird, and so we really wanted to honor her. So we've been able to open this donor advised fund in her name, make contributions regularly to that account, and then when we give to charities, we're giving it in her name, and that can continue for, it's been now 2 generations, and can hopefully continue even for our kids and grandkids. So it's really a neat way for a family to create a legacy of their giving. One of the neat things about the way the donor advised funds work is that you can give appreciated assets, and the donor advised fund can sell the assets and there's no income taxes due at that point because it's a 501c3 charitable fund. We had an example where a client several years ago had made about $100,000 investment that just kind of by the grace of God in a good market grew to a little over $1 million. And so by placing that money in the donor advised fund, we were able to sell it and diversify it. And then we avoided the taxes between the $100,000 that he paid for it and the $1 million at the current value. So that saved an enormous amount of income taxes on that $900,000 gain. We were then able to diversify it, reinvest the monies in a more diversified portfolio, and then he was able to give those monies out to charity over the next 5, 10, 15 years. The donor advised fund is really great for anybody who has appreciated assets, a really high income year where they would like to get an immediate tax deduction, but not necessarily give all that money to charity necessarily this year. So it's a way for you to get a big tax deduction now, but then use that money for your tithing and giving for several years later. The theory behind the donor advised fund is that since it itself is a 501c3 organization, you're able to make that contribution and receive the immediate income tax deduction that year. But then the monies can continue to grow tax-free, they're invested, there's different models in which you can invest. The only rule, of course, is since you receive the immediate tax deduction the year that you gave it, the monies only can be given to qualified 501c3 charities. And then it's really simple. You just let the donor advised fund know that you'd like to make contributions to a 501c3, a church or an organization, and then the check is cut directly from the donor advised fund directly to the organization. All the organizations, whether it's Raymond James Charitable Foundation or all these other different firms, can set up one charitable foundation. They manage the organization, they manage the administration, they manage the investments, and the board makes any recommendations. Then the client is able to utilize that. So you have your own little account within that donor advised fund. So it really reduces the cost, reduces the minimums that need to be contributed to the donor advised fund. You can then name your bucket of money after your family, after somebody special in your life. And then you can also give gifts anonymously, or you can give them in honor of the family foundation or whomever you've named it after. We really should make an effort not to ever write checks directly to charity or to church anymore. What we really ought to do is take those checks and contributions that you would make maybe on a monthly or regular basis to church or charity, deposit that into your investment account, and we give assets from that investment account to your donor advised fund on a regular basis. And then we just have those checks made to church and charity from the donor advised fund. So really spectacular way for anybody who has appreciated assets in a non-retirement account to give their contributions to charities and churches without ever writing a check to charity again. The most efficient, most effective way to leverage our gifts and reduce our tax liability, which is spectacular.